Pain proof. You touch a wound, and it hurts, so you touch it again. Harder. Because there's something almost pleasant about the pain. It's the only thing you feel. You pick at it. You keep it from healing. Not because you enjoy suffering, but because the pain proves you're still alive. This is why people hurt themselves. This is why people stay in situations that destroy them. This is why you sometimes want to cry just to feel something. This is the pleasure-pain paradox. Your brain doesn't distinguish between intense pain and intense pleasure. It only measures intensity. When your life is numb, when you're disconnected, when nothing feels real, pain becomes a way to feel real again. It's proof of existence, proof that you can still be affected, that you still matter enough to hurt. The mechanism is that pain triggers the release of endorphins, natural opioids, so pain itself becomes a drug. You're literally addicted to your own suffering. Your brain learns that hurting feels like relief, and it will seek out pain to get that chemical reward. This is why cutting feels good in the moment, why heartbreak keeps you coming back, why some people unconsciously sabotage happiness, because the return to pain feels like coming home. What makes this paradox so creepy is that it means your happiness might be the most dangerous thing in your life, because happiness is unfamiliar, it's unstable. But suffering is a known quantity. Your brain knows how to navigate it, so you return to it like gravity. You fall back toward the pain that feels like home. Self-betrayal. You know exactly what you should do. You understand the solution intellectually. You've read about it. You've thought about it. You've probably discussed it with someone, and yet you don't do it. You watch yourself not doing it. You narrate your own inaction while being completely powerless to stop it. It's like watching someone else sabotage you, except the someone else is you. This is the knowing-doing gap, the chasm between intellectual understanding and behavioral change. Your conscious mind knows. Your body refuses, and they're not even in the same conversation. Your conscious mind is like a passenger in your own body, narrating decisions it didn't make. The psychological mechanism is that your conscious mind operates at about 5% of your cognitive capacity. The other 95% is running on autopilot, on habit, on neural pathways that were carved years ago. So you can know that something is bad for you and still do it anyway. Because your automated systems are older, deeper, and exponentially more powerful than your conscious intentions. The terrifying part is that knowing something is actually making it worse. Every time you consciously acknowledge that you should stop and then don't stop, you're reinforcing the pattern. You're proving to your brain that your conscious will is powerless. So your subconscious stops listening. It treats your conscious mind like background noise. You become a ghost in your own life, watching your body make decisions that betray you. The infinite wanting you achieve the goal. You feel the rush, and then, almost immediately, the satisfaction dies. You look at what you achieved, and it's already meaningless. So you set a new goal, a bigger goal. You chase it with intensity. You sacrifice for it. You finally reach it, and the cycle repeats. You're on a hedonic treadmill that's speeding up, and every time you reach something, the finish line moves further away. This is the hedonic adaptation paradox. Your brain is biologically wired to want, to seek, to never be satisfied, because satisfaction was a death evolutionarily. If our ancestors were satisfied, they stopped looking for resources, and they died. So evolution built us with a wanting that can never be fulfilled, a hunger that food doesn't satisfy, a thirst that water doesn't quench. The mechanism is that your baseline happiness is remarkably stable. You can win the lottery and experience a temporary spike, but within months, you return to your baseline. You can lose everything and feel devastated, but within months, you adapt. Your brain constantly recalibrates what normal is, so nothing ever makes you happy long term. Everything becomes the new baseline, and you're always chasing the next high. The horror is realizing that contentment might be impossible, that you're designed to want things you'll never have. That happiness might not be a destination. It's a perpetual state of dissatisfaction. You're literally built to never be satisfied with anything, including your own life. The beautiful delusion. Humans are meaning-making machines. You can't function without meaning, so your brain invents it. You create narratives. You assign significance to random events. You see patterns in chaos. You believe your life has purpose, except it doesn't. It's all a story you told yourself to escape the unbearable truth that everything is meaningless, and now you're trapped. You need the lie to survive, but you know it's a lie. This is the existential paradox. Meaning is fake. Purpose is invented. The significance you feel is just your brain's defense mechanism against nihilism, but you can't live without it. So you're living on top of a lie, and the more aware you become of the lie, the more it deteriorates. The more you think about meaning, the less meaningful it becomes. The psychological mechanism is that humans cannot tolerate meaninglessness. It causes a specific kind of psychological breakdown, so we're forced to create meaning even though we know it's not real. We perform rituals, we construct identities, we chase goals that don't matter, and we call it living. But deep down, we know it's all theater. We're acting in a play on a stage that doesn't exist, for an audience that isn't watching. The cruelty is that awareness ruins it. Before you understood this, the meaning felt real. Your goals felt important. Your life felt significant. But now you see through it, and you can't unsee it. You have to keep pretending that meaning is real while knowing it's a comfortable fiction. You're living a lie that you're aware is a lie, and you have to keep going anyway. Consciousness's curse. You become more self-aware. You start noticing your patterns. You understand why you do things. You see yourself clearly for the first time, and it paralyzes you. Suddenly, every action becomes a choice. Every word becomes something you're choosing to say, and the moment you're aware that you're choosing it, you can't do it naturally anymore. You've ruined your own spontaneity. This is the self-awareness paradox. Self-awareness is supposed to lead to better decisions, to more agency, to more freedom, and it does, except the awareness itself becomes a cage. You can't act unself-consciously anymore. You can't do anything without being aware that you're doing it. You're trapped in perpetual metacognition, thinking about thinking, aware of your awareness. The mechanism is that self-consciousness forces you into explicit processing. Before, you operated on automatic processing. Your brain would just do things. But once you're aware of the process, the automatic system breaks down. You have to consciously execute everything. Your movements become stiff. Your conversations become awkward. You're suddenly hyper-aware of yourself in relation to others, and that awareness is contagious. The people around you can feel it. The paradox deepens when you realize that the most effective people, the ones who accomplish things, are often the least self-aware. They act without questioning, they move without overthinking. But you can't unlearn self-awareness. Once you see the mechanism, you can't unsee it. So you're stuck in this middle ground, aware enough to question everything, not comfortable enough with anything to just act. The choice collapse. You have unlimited options, infinite paths, complete freedom, and you're paralyzed. You can't choose because every choice means rejecting all the others. Every path forward means abandoning infinite alternatives, so you choose nothing. You stay in the middle. You defer. You wait for the choice to be made for you, because freedom feels like drowning. This is the paradox of choice. More options don't lead to better outcomes. They lead to decision paralysis and regret, because every choice comes with the burden of what you didn't choose. Every life you could have lived but didn't. Every path you abandoned. Your brain can't handle the infinite branching. It wasn't built for that. It was built for scarcity, for constraint, for limited options. The psychological mechanism is that constraints actually feel liberating. When your options are limited, the decision is easier, but when they're infinite, the decision becomes impossible, because you have to carry the weight of all the unchosen options with you. You have to grieve the versions of yourself that will never exist, and that grief is paralyzing. The cruelty is that freedom becomes a prison. The more options you have, the more imprisoned you become. The most satisfied people are often the ones with the fewest choices, because they're not haunted by the paths not taken. But in the modern world, you have infinite options, and infinite options mean infinite regret. You're always wondering what life you could have lived if you'd chosen differently. Intimate strangers. You need people. You're a social creature. Isolation is torture, but people hurt you. They disappoint you. They leave you. So you're trapped in a paradox. You suffer without people, and you suffer with them. You need a connection, but a connection guarantees pain. So you're always in a state of impossible contradiction. You're simultaneously desperate for closeness and desperate to escape it. This is the connection paradox. Humans are simultaneously the most social and most lonely creatures. We evolved to need each other, but we also evolved to distrust each other, to compete with each other, to betray each other. So every human relationship is built on a foundation of fear. You let someone close enough to hurt you, because the alternative, complete isolation, is worse. The mechanism is that your nervous system is dysregulated when you're alone. You need other people to co-regulate, to calm you down. But the moment someone gets close enough to help you, they're close enough to destroy you, so you're trapped in a dynamic of approach and avoidance, getting close and pulling away, seeking connection and sabotaging it. The paradox deepens because intimacy itself is impossible. The moment someone truly sees you, truly knows you, the thing that made them love you, the mystery, the projection, the fantasy of who you are, dissolves. They see the real you. And the real you is less interesting, less compelling, less worthy than the fantasy. So real intimacy always disappoints, and yet you keep seeking it, because being unknown is lonelier than being known and found wanting. The growth ceiling. You decide to change. You commit. You work harder than you've ever worked. You sacrifice. You push yourself. You're so committed to growth that it consumes you. And then you plateau, and you keep pushing. Harder, more intensely, and you get worse. Not better, worse, because you've passed the point of productivity. You've entered the realm of diminishing returns. But you can't stop pushing because stopping feels like failure. So you grind against the ceiling until you break. This is the effort paradox. More effort doesn't always lead to better results. There's an optimal level of effort. Beyond that, effort becomes counterproductive. Your nervous system gets dysregulated. Your decision-making gets worse. Your creativity dies. But you can't see the ceiling. You only know you're not where you want to be. So you push harder, and the harder you push, the further away the goal becomes. The psychological mechanism is that growth requires relaxation, rest, and integration. It's not a linear climb, it's a spiral. You make progress, then you plateau, then you rest, then you integrate, then you make the next leap. But modern culture glorifies the grind. It celebrates exhaustion. So you skip the rest phases. You skip the integration. You just keep climbing until you burn out, until you break. The cruelty is that the people most obsessed with growth are often the ones least capable of achieving it, because obsession is counterproductive. Growth requires a certain lightness, a willingness to fail, a comfort with not knowing. But obsessive people are rigid. They're afraid. They're trying to force growth through sheer willpower. And willpower is the enemy of growth, so they're guaranteed to fail. And the failure reinforces their obsession. The cycle accelerates until collapse. You're fundamentally contradictory. You'll never make sense. And that's not a flaw. It's the whole point. The moment you accept that, you stop fighting yourself. If you want to understand the paradoxes that built you, hit subscribe. New videos every week that'll break everything you think you know.